What up, everybody? Sako here. It's now November 2022. We're almost at the end of the year, which is kind of crazy because I remember posting my last video was at the beginning of this year, back in February, and that seems like it was just the other day. Now we're already almost into 2023, so the year is flying by, which is good. Anyways, I wanted to upload this video. This is going to be a two-part video. And the first part of the video is just going to be a quick update of the new work that I've had done by Mark Walker. Continuing black work on my arms down in San Diego at the Grand Reaper Tattoo Shop. And then the other part of this video is going to be kind of a warning video about using numbing cream when doing big projects such as a large tattoo or blacking out your body. So starting with the first part, I got more work done by Mark. My last video, I finished up my right arm doing my hand, and then some touch-ups on my forearm and whatnot, all the way up to my shoulder. Well, that is finally done. I have nothing left else to do on my arm. It's all done. So all the touch-ups are done, my hand's done, my wrist everywhere, and it just came out better than I could have ever imagined. It's so smooth and so black, and it's perfect. And it's really a monument to the pain and suffering that I endured in order to achieve this tattoo. So I wear it with pride, and it's a badge of honor. And I feel so much better now in my own skin, not having to live my life with those old tattoos that were so bad. I will say this, and maybe I was a little naive about this going into having such an extreme tattoo. To me, it's totally normal to have tattoos, sleeves, full backs, body pieces, whatever, body suits. But there's something about having an appendage or a limb on your body that's just solid black like this that just, it draws so much attention. I've been tattooed for a long time, and people ask me about my work, but it seems that having this black work has just drawn so much unnecessary and unwanted attention. And there's days when I'm cool about it and, I explain to people, yada, yada. But there's other days where I just don't want to have to explain myself. And just know that if you do this kind of extreme tattooing, this is what you're signing up for, because it's not very common and everybody has something to say about it. And it's very black and white, no pun intended, but people either love it or they think you're out of your mind. So be prepared to deal with that having heavy black work. So yeah. So what happened was I finished up my right arm, and then I started to feel unbalanced. I'm sure you guys have experienced this with tattoos on certain limbs and stuff, where you get one here and then you feel, oh crap, I feel off, I need to get one over here. Well, that same exact thing happened to me initially. I started with my right arm, I did a sleeve, then I did a sleeve on my left arm to balance it out. I blacked out my right arm, and now I've decided to begin blacking out my left arm. This time it's a little different because I didn't have a full sleeve of garbage like I did on my right arm. The work that was done on my left arm was done by the same artist that did the bad work on my right arm. Luckily for me, I only got about 4 or 5 pieces into it before I stopped getting tattooed by them and that shop altogether. Now, there was a long period of time, I'd say almost 10 years or so, where I just did not get tattooed at all. I was just over it. And somewhere around 2015 or 2016, I decided to finally finish my left arm. And I found an artist in Studio City, California at a shop called Unbreakable. His name is Taku, and he does traditional Japanese, and he's really, really, really good at what he does. So I started working with him to kind of fix my left arm, and he was able to do a lot of the work that's on here and fix it and do new work and kind of blend it into the old to kind of make it look like one cohesive tattoo. He did a fantastic job with that, but I still couldn't get over having those old pieces visible. And even though there was the new work in there and Taku made it look so amazing, I just still was unhappy having those 4 or 5 really bad tattoos from the shop. And no, I will not name the tattoo shop, nor will I name the artist, because they are still open in Los Angeles and they still tattoo. and operate a business to this day. You know who you are though if you see this video. So yeah, I was like unhappy with having those bad pieces in with the good pieces, and as good as a job as Taco did, the other shitty pieces really just stuck out for me. So after I started this project and I went through with it and I knew what I was getting myself into, I started toying with the idea of doing my left arm. So yeah, I mentioned to Mark that this is what I want to do and kind of asked him, hey, would you be able to do this and make it look good? Because I've seen, blackouts where they incorporate like a handful of pieces with the black, and sometimes it just doesn't look right. So yeah, he kind of did like a rough drawing on my arm of what would go, what would stay, and how he would blend it. And I just went with it. I figured, you know what, I'm going to do this, and if I'm not happy with the way that it looks, then I can just go ahead and black it out, because, nothing cooler than having one arm is having two black arms. So yeah, about 3 days ago, I went down to San Diego, took the trek down there, and we started to black out my left arm. And this is the end result right here. As you can see, he incorporated the heavy black with the existing artwork that was there to kind of make it look like one cohesive unit. Now you can see my left hand is just super duper swollen compared to my right hand. So that's typical for doing heavy black work like that. When you damage that much skin in one setting, your body, its immediate response is to swell. So this swelling lasts for days and days and days. So I'm basically living off of these and then a lot of ice, elevation, and I just rest. I don't do anything. And I really try to avoid bending my wrist, because bending that area a lot will cause the skin to rip, and then I've been there. You don't want to deal with that. So my best advice to you is, if you get blackout like this, and anywhere where there's a joint, is to just keep your arm as straight as possible, as elevated as possible, rest as much as you can, ice and ibuprofen, and just take it easy until it starts to peel and the skin starts to actually really heal. Because if it rips and it starts getting infected, it's a nightmare. I've been there. You don't want to deal with it. So anyways, yeah, we started doing this project and blacking out my left arm, which I think it looks amazing. Mark once again killed it. And yeah, I'm really happy. I'm going to probably go up to maybe where the skull is at and black out. There's still some of the old tattoo there you can see right there. But for the most part, the big pieces here and on my wrists and on my forearm right there, they're all gone, thank God. So yeah, we're gonna touch up the rest of the black to make it look super, smooth and uniform, and then go up and just finish it. And I'll leave everything else, the snake and everything else. That was all Taco. He did an amazing job with that, so I'm not gonna mess with it. So that's the update part of the video. The second part of my video is I want to warn people, my viewers, of the side effects and dangers of using numbing ointment. So a little while ago, I went to my friend's house, husband and wife, they're heavily tattooed. And the wife was getting a piece done on her left arm. And she doesn't have a very high tolerance for pain, so she wound up buying some numbing cream. Well, when it came time for her to do her tattoo, she left the numbing cream at home. So she bought it for nothing, essentially. And then after that, she didn't get tattooed, so she had this stuff just sitting around her house. Well, I was at her house one day, and, she knew I was doing these projects with, like, a lot of heavy black work and shading and stuff. So she made mention to me that she had numbing cream and asked me if I had ever used it, which, me personally, I've never, ever used it. All of my tattoos, I've sat through every second of pain and earned all of it. So she gave me it just as like, hey, maybe you want to try it, which I didn't think anything of it. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. And, with no intent of actually using it. Well, fast forward, now I've had as much time in as I've had getting black work done that I'm over it. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I love the pain and, tattoo therapy and, this outer body experience. Fuck that. I've been getting tattooed a long time. I'm getting older. I cannot deal with the pain like I used to. So, yeah, I started toying with the idea. Well, hey, I have this tube of numbing cream. Maybe I should use it for my next session. And of course, me being the dumbass that I am, did I do any research about the side effects of using numbing cream? No, I just was like, oh, I'm going to read the directions and use this stuff. Huge mistake. So down in San Diego, I get there early, I have time to kill, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use the numbing ointment for this session, and that way it won't hurt. So I put the stuff on, which, by the way, this is the stuff that I was given, Mithra. I don't know if any of you have heard of this brand, or have used this brand, or is this, leave a comment in the comment section about what you use or recommend. I've heard there's like Dr. Numb or a few others or whatever. This is just the stuff that I was given that I use. So the directions say to apply this ointment to your skin, and then wrap it in saran wrap and wait an hour to 2 hours for it to take effect. Then after the time has passed, you take it off, you wipe it, boom, you're good to go, you're numb, you go and get tattooed. So I followed the directions to a T, and then it was time to get tattooed, so I took it off, and I mean, it barely worked. Like, I could feel the tattoo still. It wasn't like when you go to the dentist and they numb you and you don't feel anything. I could still feel the tattoo. And I noticed that my skin, the texture was different, because I put, this ointment, which is moist, it's liquid, and I put it on my arm, and then I wrapped it in saran wrap, which trapped the liquid and sweat in there, which got my skin like soggy, almost if like I was in a swimming pool or something. So that changed the texture of my skin, and it made it harder for Mark to tattoo me. I was bleeding a lot, like more than I've ever bled getting a tattoo, and I really think this stuff had something to do with that. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is when it finally did wear off, which was like maybe an hour into the tattoo, I was just overwhelmed with the wave of pain. Like, oh my God, I don't know what it was, but like every time that needle hit my skin, it was agony, and it just hurt more than it's ever hurt. I've done 17 hours on this arm, okay, and I've sat through all 17 hours like a champ. This was only 3 hours to do all this, and it was literally the most painful 3 hours of my life. It was agony. Every draw, every shade, every paper towel wipe, it was just like sandpaper on my skin, and my arm swelled up more than it normally does, and it just was bad news all around. So I was already like there and doing it, so I had to just deal with it. But like, man, hindsight being what it is, if I'd have known that that's how it was gonna be, I would have never ever used this stuff. So the point I'm trying to make is like, I know this seems like a good idea and it'd be awesome to just get tattooed and not feel pain, but you know what? Pain and tattoos go hand in hand, and this stuff is just not good at all. It's gonna make for a really difficult tattoo, and it's gonna make for a really, really excruciatingly painful tattoo, because like I said, when this stuff starts to wear off, your senses just get amplified. And I had to tough it out, because it's not like the shop's down the street, so I just toughed it out and sat through it. But I will never ever, I don't care what brand it is, I will never use numbing cream again when getting a tattoo. And that is my take on it. Maybe it works for some of you guys. I don't know. Maybe leave a comment in the comment section about what does or doesn't work for you. And by the way, the main ingredient in this thing, it says 10% lidocaine, which lidocaine is the same stuff that they use like as a topical when you're at the dentist. So yeah, this stuff sucks. Anyways, I'll post another video next year. That's when I'm supposed to get tattooed, when we're going to finish covering up the rest of this and touch up the black and this, that, and the other. But yeah, once again, if you ever want to get heavy black work done and you're in California, I highly recommend Mark Walker down at the Grand Reaper in San Diego. I call him the West Coast Hood, because he tattoos just as good as that guy does. So anyways, that's it. I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Later.